Welcome, guys. Welcome to the CaMpUS podcast. This is season 1, episode 2. We're talking about mental health, to be precise, suicidal thoughts and depression, and a lot of things. So, if you're tuning in, just sit down, have some glass of juice. If you're in traffic, you're stuck, just put some hazards on and relax and listen to this podcast. I'm your guy, Bernard.
And I'm your co-host, Major, and today we are talking about suicide and suicidal thoughts. And we have an amazing guest today, and we have Eli. Yeah, Eli, I don't know if I've gotten the pronunciation right. Maybe he can clarify.
It's Deleali.
Nah, great having you guys here. I'm Eli, just like he said, the pronunciation was very correct.
Yeah.
So it's Eli.
Eli, how are you feeling?
Awesome.
Oh, welcome to the conversation. I know you are a pretty experienced guy in these issues. I've known you a long time, and
sure.
I know you're gonna give our viewers a compelling discussion. Yeah.
Obviously.
Welcome.
Perhaps you can do the introduction. Maybe people can get to know you, maybe your handles and those and stuff.
All right. Now that we're in a podcast, everything is artistic. So my name is You're Looking for Eli.
Yeah, I love it. That's
yeah,
creative.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm a third year. I actually come from Chiramo.
Uh-huh.
I'm your future doctor. Right now I'm becoming a therapist in this show. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Tune in.
We hope the therapy works on you.
Jusisi ni my host. We need it that much. So guys, tune in. This is, as I said earlier, this is episode 2, and we're about to give you some juicy stories.
Great.
For you to come and feature in one of these sessions, and we believe our audience will enjoy your presence today.
Absolutely.
So you feeling good, Eli?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, this is an amazing session. So if you have not yet subscribed, liked, comment, do so just right now, because this is going to be a hot session. And the next episode, we promise to do more videos and more audios. So you can follow us at our socials at CaMpUS Podcast. That's on YouTube. We are at actually 50 plus subscribers. We uploaded our first episode, and it's at almost 200 likes and views. 200 views. So we encourage you to continue subscribing and liking. So we're gonna dive into mental health, and maybe I'll let my co-host Ariel pose the first question, maybe.
So the last episode, as you can remember, we talked about depression, and depression is such a pertinent issue in CaMpUS. And today we are talking about suicide, something that's closely related to depression. I think they work in tandem. One may lead to another. And yeah, we are talking about depression. So depression and suicide, yeah. So before we dive into suicide, I just want to ask Eli.
Yes.
Eli, can you just give us a snippet of what do you think about depression first?
When someone tells me about depression and stuff, I feel like it's a very broad thing to talk about, and just like a reflection of everything, depression is the core thing in our society. And something that comes into my mind every moment I think about that is the negativity that people have about depression, because people always think that depression only attacks some middle-aged people, the teenagers, which is not true. We have even older people that die of depression. And then, as an example, there's this great actor called Robert Williams. He died of depression and suicide. So basically, it is a thing that's majorly out there, which people should not negativize about. It should be really given a head on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've mentioned that Rogers Williams died of depression and suicide. So this brings us to your perspective that depression is associated with suicide, and depression can cause death. So is that the case?
To partly to some
extent.
perspective, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, depression can lead to death, and that's logic.
Okay, so in many cases tumekuwa na students dying all over campus. There have been a lot of cases of suicidal thoughts, or anything to do with suicidal depression. So what do you think are some of the insights that zina push campus students could lead into kujiua, into depression, kind of things?
That quickly reminds me of last year of a student who was reported dead because of a reason that was unknown, but later it was determined that he died of suicide from depression. And then the major thing that I think leads to people having the depression thoughts and maybe end up dying in suicide is drugs.
Okay.
Yeah, once you really reflect this into some top perspective, you can realize that drugs have really taken down our people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you could expound more on drugs, the access in campus, and blah blah blah. Maybe.
Right. So when I talk about drugs, it's a major topic that comes with the suicide topic. It is a topic that's supposed to be talked differently, but because they come hand in hand with this, I'd rather talk about it. Drugs is a very bad thing that is humaining our people, that's keeping them into tragic. And once a person begins doing drugs, we can realize that the mental functioning literally shifts from normality to abnormality. And then when someone reaches to this point of drugs, maybe from behind we can say he or she is having a financial crisis. So when someone thinks about, maybe I'm having a financial crisis, and then drugs are really giving him a push, drugs really encourage someone to do something that's wrong from right. So when someone is having a financial thing, maybe a student is unable to provide their meals, maybe he comes from a background that's totally not fit, and then maybe the food stuff becomes a problem. So once drugs are very free. When you do drugs, you can have a lot of friends who gives you that for free. So when you begin doing these drugs, then they alterate your mentality, and you feel like you have no use in this world. Okay. And then finally you just end up ruining your life. Yeah, I can say drugs really play a major role in the depression and suicide of our people.
Yeah, so according to you, the main thing is drugs. But if I were to tell you that I knew someone who had just joined campus and was in first year, this guy had not done any drugs, wasn't into some conspicuous peer pressure scheme. Na huyu jamaa, kuna siku tumeamka tukapata the guy alicommit suicide, alijinyonga. What would you say about that?
Did he die of suicide?
Yeah, alijinyonga.
Was he doing drugs?
Was not doing drugs.
Okay, that takes me back to another explanation.
Yeah.
When I say drugs, necessarily didn't mean that that's the only thing.
Yeah.
So financial crisis from another thing is a thing that can lead to someone ending their life.
Yeah.
It's a lot. The relationship thing can lead someone to ending their life.
Relationship,
right? Yeah, it's really a lot.
Karibu inipate hiyo.
Yeah, you can tell, like, honestly, a lot of students have died of suicide from the relationship thing.
Yeah.
Maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend's quitting her, so you feel like you have nothing else remaining for you to do. So people end up their lives. Yeah, necessarily, like, it's really a lot for someone to end their lives through depression, anxiety, and the thing. Then it really takes a very deep thought about that. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be just drugs.
Yeah.
People can end their lives in depending on what they are going through in life.
Yeah, and now that Eli has mentioned relationships, I think over the past 2 months, there have been so many cases across many universities of people committing suicide because of a breakup, or they were cheated on, and that's a whole different issue that we should also dive into. And it's also another very, very big issue. Meanwhile, suicide, there's nothing that can just come spontaneously. Like, I cannot just wake up today and decide to go and commit suicide.
Absolutely.
There must be a reason. And like a disease, there must be signs and symptoms that one can see that this guy is not all right. Kuna signs ina precede your decision ya commit suicide. So unafikiria hizi signs ni kama gani? Like unaweza ona huyu mtu hayuko sawa na anaweza jiham.
We have a negative look on things.
Yeah.
Maybe if you think someone is very quiet, who's doing their own thing, you probably rush to saying, hey, those people are depressed.
Yeah.
Which is relatively not true. We have people who, at their lowest, they can behave like everything is alright. They can be out there partying, they can be laughing out loud. And then people be like, this guy's really good. But now in reality, this guy's battling something, right? I'm talking that out of a thing I've known and a friend I've known, who is a person who never really showed their life. Like, he totally used to hide things through the smile.
Yeah.
And I was kind of not good because I never realized that he was into right until finally he ended up his life. So through the act, this guy's very happy. Yeah, he has no problem. I never bothered to ask, not even a day, that, bruh, are you having something? So what I'm trying to mean is, a sign is very difficult to look with a person that's battling depression. It's very difficult to know maybe someone is battling depression. Unlike the old world, where people maybe could cut themselves, they could isolate themselves, they could not eat.
Yeah.
Lately, the most depressed people eat a lot, they talk a lot. So you barely cannot know maybe this person is having a problem or not.
Yeah.
So basically, I think the only sign that can tell that someone is battling depression is no sign. To mean that you are supposed to ask someone if they're really okay, no matter their situation, no matter their happiness, no matter if they're sad, laughing out like you basically supposed to check on them every single time.
Yeah.
That is there's no sign to someone battling depression.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think they are different people. They are varied people. Kuna watu watashow signs, then kuna stiflers watastifle hiyo feeling na pretend like kila kitu iko sawa, and you only hear wame commit suicide, and that's also the case. Yeah. So we proceed in campus, especially. What do you think is the gender factor in committing suicide? Because I think the few last cases that are on my radar about committing suicide, naona ni kama most of them have been men. And why do you think it's so?
I really think men commit a lot of suicide than females because of a logic thing. Men have this mentality that they are the people to provide for anything or everything rather.
Yeah.
So maybe as an example, if someone is in a relationship as a guy and you have this girlfriend, so you'd be like, you are the person that's supposed to provide for her every little thing. So in the event of maybe a breakup, sometimes it wouldn't really matter what makes you end your relationship. But then mostly if a relationship ends with the negotiations from a female that this guy is providing nothing for this boy feels like he's failing a lot, right? And maybe probably this guy is not able to provide for themselves too. So once he realizes that I'm failing on every part of my life, like I can't even provide for myself, can't even provide for my girlfriend, I think generally most of them end up their lives through maybe the financial thing.
Okay. Do you feel like, you mentioned before financial crisis, do you feel like in campus this is the most contributing factor to many students committing suicide? Does it like play a big role in many students committing suicide, or anyone being financially not stable?
I think in every part of the world, the financial thing is the major thing in the world.
It's a key issue.
So when I think about that, I feel like it is the major thing in campus. So because probably maybe not everyone is able to provide something. We have people who are able to provide their lives, and then we have others who are not. And then when you look into perspective, the ones that are not able to provide for themselves, the graph is high. So I think financial thing is a big thing here.
Okay, and still on the gender dynamics of suicide, do you think kuna some behavioral characteristics zenye ziko associated na gender zenye zina contribute, kama tuseme for example men wanakuanga under pressure, and alafu men tunajua men are nurtured kuwa resilient, kuwa stateless. As a man, your tears hazifai kuwa seen, and you established that in the last episode that men are expected to be strong, and most of the time men hawaongelee shida zao. Na do you think this contributes to more cases of suicide among men?
I think the act of not speaking out about a problem really makes a problem. So I think dying on yourself's problems can lead to you doing a lot of things. So logic. If you don't speak out, no one's going to know you have a problem, and no one's going to help you solve it out. So once you speak out, I feel like you're speaking something to be helped.
Okay, there is acha ni interrupt kiasi. Kuna more commonly kuna kitu wanarifaka toxic masculinity. Anytime a man pour out the feelings what he feels, especially kituka depression ama mental health ama suicidal thoughts, you'll be viewed as weak. How do you feel about this? Ni kama sasa nianze kuambia ma feelings zangu, sijui niko na ma stress, niko na manini. Kuna there is that toxic masculinity. Una feel ni kapia ina play a big role to suicidal thoughts ama depression. What do you think?
That's very deep. It really shows how the feminine thing when a man speaks out the problem. But then I think it's relatively not right. Like we are human beings, and then your whole life maybe you have 2 or 3 people you really believe in, you really trust. So you're not really supposed to speak your problems to the world, but those few people you trust.
Okay.
Yeah, because we live in a generation where if you tell someone this thing, you're going to hear it from another party. So it is a trust thing, right? But you trust your parents, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a problem, talk to them.
Okay,
perhaps. You trust your girlfriend. You have a girlfriend.
Perhaps kwa opinion yako, have you ever been in a situation like that alafu ukapea mtu your views? What do you think from your...
Yeah, I'm talking that out of experience.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been there.
Ali handle large maybe the situation, the whole thing. With you being a man.
Let me wrap it out, the whole script.
Okay.
I just broke up with my girlfriend last year.
No, man.
Yeah, actually.
That came from the heart.
Genuinely. So she was a girl I really loved, like passionately.
I hope she'll tune in.
Tumwambia subscribe.
Hopefully she does that. I'm not gonna speak her name though. So we broke up, and mostly I was not the person that brought out the idea that, oh, we should break up and think. It was obviously from her. It was really hard for me to like take it in, act like everything is normal, where logically nothing was normal. I was actually at we were almost ending last year, like the December vacation, where everyone is like, hey, I want to be with the people I love close to. And your girlfriend tells you, boy, like, let's cut. We cut it out, right?
It's a wrap.
So it was very hard for me, actually. I remember I was battling loneliness for 2 weeks. Buda hata kwenda dari ilikuwa noma. Unaona, like I barely went to classes. I just could sleep in my room, trying to talk to her like, hey, please give me a chance and stuff, which is something I came to hate later. But then when I felt like my life was falling apart, I thought like I could speak out, because for the 2 weeks I never told no one like I'm having this problem. Maybe I'm feeling lonely, so I might end up my life. But that thought didn't come. I was talking it out. So I thought of my brother, and then I was like, no. I then thought of my mother. So I called my mother and I was like, guy, mother ataniona aje, like, boy, umeenda kusoma ama nini? So I called her and I was like, hey mom, I have something we want to talk about. Hey, my mother was like, is everything really okay? I'm like, yeah, sure, like, it's just a small matter. I told her my girlfriend's breaking up with me and I love her. Mother, unajua aliniambia aje? Like, if you feel your girlfriend is everything, beba vitu rudi nyumbani. That is what she told me. And then hapo mwanzo niliona like my mother is trying to be harsh on me. So but later I came to realize the beba vitu rudi home was more of a statement. Like, you can just live without her. If she wants to leave, don't let her drag behind. She's not worthy being with you. So I spoke to my mother and that helped me up.
So the best way for you to communicate your feelings, uliona ni mother-child bond. As much as not that, I felt like my mother could keep that secret.
So it's confidentiality.
Exactly.
Confidentiality. So confidentiality is important. Me personally, the clique I walk around with, if I were to nikienda niwaambie nimeachwa,
steka mpasho lazima
then check it out,
then
acha
these kinds of people ni wale wenye unaweza enda uambie I have a problem, like niko stressed up, then unakuambia uko stressed up ya nini, twende club tushike mzinga. Then you'd go and shika mzinga, you are high, and you wake up tomorrow na hangover, and it's just a momentary happiness, but ile shida ulikuwa nayo when you wake up tomorrow kwa keja yako peke yako, you are now alone, then you start reflecting on shida bado inarudi, and now it comes back heavily. So this is the problem among men. We are not wired to talk about our problems. That's for real.
Tuna feel weak.
Tuna feel weak.
That gives me the Kinuthia vibes. No,
sha. Kwanza tutaiweka hapo.
Crazy.
Okay, so una feel like, so kuna emergency of podcast so mingi sana zime come up. Do you feel like the whole thing na media, podcast, news, entertainment section zime play a role in kusaidia wase wadili na mashida wanapitia ka depression ama anxiety ama suicidal thoughts?
It's quite vice versa. I think media has really played a big role. And then that is positively, but then part of it sometimes comes out negatively. But I think relatively high it's done positively, because I feel like personally when I'm going through maybe my phone, I'm actually a guy who's so much into art, the art thing, the poetry stuff. So when I'm going through my phone, I'm finding a piece of maybe a person who's performing a poetry thing, and it's talking about depression. Like maybe if the person is a she's trying to explain this whole thing in a better way. So I feel like maybe I'm not alone, right? So when you feel someone who's talking about the same thing, you'll be like, kumbe I'm not fighting this alone, right? So you feel like you are not alone in this battle, so you better be grinding, you better be doing something that's positive. So media is really playing a good role. And maybe this podcast, people are talking about this thing, right? And then someone anafikiria like these people are talking how I can overcome drugs. Yeah, it's a good thing. Like it ends up transforming this person. These people are talking about the suicide thing. I was having some thoughts. No, this thing is helping. So I feel like media is very impressive in this.
Yeah, and I also feel like media is very interesting. You know, the upcoming generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like it's not in us kuchukua vitu so seriously. Like mtu kama mimi sasa niko na shida nitoke ati naenda kuona therapist. Nimeenda kukaa kwa room na therapist. Sasa nataka kumnaretia. Like your environment iko na tension sana. Iko too serious for me. But
Sinemazoka.
Iko too serious for me. But then nikipata a platform where tunaweza have this conversation ni kama it's something easier. Normal in life, like I can be more free kuongea. Free kuongea. Therapist wengine pia unajua unaweza they're after money,
so they can exploit you.
And some of them use the secrets you tell them to create create conversations with their buddies. And they be like, I have this person Cloud, let's call her Cloud, or let's call it person X, and they use you as an example to others, and that's not maintaining confidentiality. But then when you have a platform through media or through art, as you have said, and I hope someday you'll give us a bow of your poetry.
Sure. Takuja show. Tukiwa na nini ya poetry. So Eli, do you feel like major na mentioning of therapist na psychiatrist and things? Do you feel like comrades wanna fear, students in campus, they fear approaching these guys for the first thing you mentioned before, being financially stable? Do you feel like in our push to suicidal thoughts, do always access these therapists, psychiatrists? Do you feel like professions pia na careers pia zina lead more students into dying instead of accessing the guys wenye wanaweza wasaidia?
That's quite different. I feel like I'm my own therapy. Like everyone is their own therapist.
Okay.
So personally, when I'm really having a problem, I'm consulting the motherfucker in me, right?
Okay.
So like I feel like myself is really enough to solve my problems. And that is when you have courage about yourself. You feel like you have to tell no one about your stories, and then you can solve that as a person, which is very different. The first thing that someone's supposed to learn out of here is you have to love yourself. So when you love yourself, then you can consult yourself, you can be your own therapist. So the first thing is get to love yourself, dudes.
Okay, and these guys when you tuseme in campus, they don't have access to these professional careers, when wanaweza consult about their problems. So do you feel, unafeel nini ni remedy inaweza wasaidia? Umesema you have mentioned of poetry. Si kila mtu wako into art. So kuna wenye wako campus, maybe hawaja find a way in campus, maybe they're even first years. Nini inaweza kuwa solution kwao if they can't access therapist na psychiatrist? Tuseme wako low-key, tuseme generally in campus kila mtu wakwangi na pesa vile. So what's the other easier way? Umesema ko into art, wenye hawako into art wanaweza fanya wanaweza tumia njia gani rahisi na situation zao za depression ama suicidal thoughts?
Alright. I feel like everyone has their own thing they love doing. Like every person. If like someone like me, I said I really like art, and then that is me, right? And maybe him, he likes spending time, maybe going see how nature looks like. Like that's how they drive themselves. Like maybe someone else loves swimming, going to the PlayStation, maybe going to play chess. Like that is the thing you love. If you love drawing, go do it. Like there's no big time for everyone else. Yeah.
And I think you're right. Everyone has something they love, something that they can distract their thoughts from bad things like suicide and whatever, because suicide is result from thinking a lot. You cannot commit suicide if you have not been thinking about it. And there's a popular saying that someone who thinks all the time has nothing to think but thoughts. So if you think about suicide all the time, you have nothing to think but suicidal thoughts. Alafu hiyo issue na therapist, CaMpUS, most people wanna fall into depression and these bad thoughts because of financial issues. Then imagine someone ako depressed, anataka kujimada juu hana pesa, alafu mwambie aende kwa therapist, na therapist consultation ya 1,000 per hour. So you've just pushed this guy to the grave. Already akona stress sasa. Umemuongezea tu. And I think finding your own therapy ni useful sana. Kama mimi when I'm stressed or stuff, because we can not pretend that we don't get stressed. Sure. We all do. I write or read. By day I have blogs and nitapost link hapo kwa comments muangalie.
Msome hizo story, ni mzuri.
Na msome, they are related and they are very nice. And I also play football among other things. And also you, our viewer,
Listeners,
you can find something to do that can distract you from these thoughts. And we also say that you can talk to someone you feel you can confide in. Not mtu ataenda huko kuanza kukutumia kama example ama create conversations.
Create vlogs akaweke mpasho.
You know, Gen Z watu wengine atueleweki.
Kamera kila saa.
So tumepata that unafaa kuongea na kufind something that can distract you. And therapy is not about seeing professional. Si lazima uende huko uone doctor nani. Your therapist can be your friend mwenye uko na yeye hapo. Your therapist can be what you love doing, so long as it distracts you from those thoughts. Na isikuwe kitu temporary distraction kama kutumia drugs.
Wamesema ukiniangalia.
Mwache drugs.
Mwache miadarati. Isikuwe temporary distraction juu. One thing about drugs, you'll get high for that moment. Overnight, you'll get high overnight.
You mentioned too early.
But then
for a moment,
ukiamka kesho, you'll wake up with more regrets than you had the previous day. So hapa hakuna kitu imesaidia. So that's it.
Okay. Eli, una feel over the recent past tumekuwa na a lot of cases about femicide, genocide. What's your take on, do you feel like imepushiwa to an extent like it's masculine people like men peke yake ndio wana hurt the other gender and it's not the other way around, like lawama mingi imekelewa kwa wanaume? How do you feel about this? Do you feel like pia men are hurt lakini atuongelei sana? Ebu tuambie una feel aje?
I feel like history female thing day in day out is becoming a lot. As if the men don't have feelings, right?
Yeah.
So men also have feelings actually. Men get hurt. Something that makes you cry makes a man cry to the inside, right? So as much as men really don't show, there's a lot that you can do to a man that can break him down.
Yeah, it's true.
So we are all human. And then I feel like the genocide thing has really recent. It's been in the streets. We hear it day in, day out. Like, yeah, it's a lot actually to talk about it. As much as the female gender has been affected much, I feel like it's something that's supposed to be changing.
Address both issues, both genders.
Yeah, we should be addressing both genders.
To an extreme, and I feel like maybe institutions zenye ni non-governmental ama governmental zime play a big role to ensure maybe both genders are safe ama to end femicide ama genocide ama the whole thing with suicidal thoughts. Do you feel like institutions zime intervene kusaidia at least to solve the cases of murder in the country?
I feel like yes. Like these bigger crusades that have been out here, which are both visited by men too. I think like the country and every institution that's trying to carry that down is doing really a great job.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just to talk about a little thing about the financial stuff. Like it's generally not financially. Like, you know, someone can be poor mentally. That is now the mental financial problem.
Inamanisha una knowledge kabisa.
Yeah, you don't have knowledge, right? Yeah, when we really talk about financial thing in mental health, it really doesn't count with maybe monies and stuff. Yeah, we know of Dele Ali, the player. You know him, right?
Alikuwa Tottenham, alienda
huyo mse alipotea, but then after 2 years, the guy came out speaking about how the depression thing
actually I feel like that's the whole thing and you push him upside down. Alienda silent kabisa.
Yeah. And then when he was talking about it, he was talking about the family thing led him to have those thoughts.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Like he was talking about how his maternal parents disowned him.
Walimkataa.
Yeah, so he was bought by, right? He was adopted, that is.
Sangekele dobaya unakataa. Nakataa kwa mzazi wangu.
So this guy like he's a guy who got everything. Right?
The guy ana play very well.
Yeah, apart from playing, this guy has money. You have good cars to drive.
You can have all those things.
It's nice. Yeah. So you can have all those things, but mentally you're distracted.
Yeah, uko ill.
Yeah, and then now something that comes with the financial thing is love.
Okay.
You know, if you don't have love from your parents, then you have something you're battling. So this affects every person. So for you to be in a better position in life, as much as you can have everything that it takes to have, you gotta love yourself.
Oh.
Yeah.
So una feel, I don't know, meda nafaa kuwa hapa.
So tuli establish kitambo ati watu huogopa kuongea about mental health issues. Na kuna so much stigma around it. And personally, I think I've contributed to the stigma because in the last episode, I was adamant that depression is a woke thing. Depression is a thing that has been, mindset that has been instilled on us. And you know, such perspectives zinafanya watu waogope sana kuongea about is depression. So unaona aje sisi kama comrades or the campus community, how can we reduce this stigma around mental health issues and suicide?
Firstly, I feel like we should have this motto in our heads, like anxiety is not an item. You can just return it to the store.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like we are really supposed to push it away. Because the thing number one mental health thing brings is just degradation of your life. Maybe from being a nice guy walking around with to becoming the greatest drug addict. From becoming someone who was social to isolating yourself. So we are really supposed to understand and accept that having this stigma around us, like the mental thing, people be talking about someone died of this. we are supposed to push it away. It's not supposed to be in our eyes. We should smoke it out. We should act like we don't know it. Once you act like you don't know something, that something ends. So yeah, we should drive it away from our mindsets. Yeah.
Okay, do you feel like there are common unajua special disease campus, so kuna udaku at the at high level. Do you feel like kuna the common misconceptions like also mention una feel ni kama this ni kama anajaribu kuillustrate depression ama suicidal thoughts? Are there any common misconceptions maybe you've come across? It's a round table discussion. Yeah. So PSC will give in a view of it.
I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about mental health, because I hear a lot of people be talking like, hey, if someone's depressed, those people are weak. Which is not really true. I can say like the depressed people, the people having the mental disorders and problems, are the strongest people you can have around. These people are generally fighting a lot in their lives and keeps on moving, keeps on growing, despite the fact that they're having something that's taking their life away. So it is through acceptance. Like, we are really supposed to understand that people out there, we are all not the same. People are battling a lot in their lives. And if someone talks about their depression thing, we are not supposed to maybe reject them and feel like they're weak. They're not really weak. Yeah, they are really trying all they can. And shout out to you guys. I really hope you fight it out soon and get back to normalcy and enjoy the life that we all live in. Yeah.
Thank you. That's why we are here. We are here to make your campus life smooth and to make you aware of the things that are going on in campus. And we have established that stigma about mental health tunafaa kuitoa na tunafaa kudiscuss freely, openly hii mambo ya mental health. Juu si poa mtu akikufa prematurely over something that cannot be avoided. It's so sad. Unajua, there's a saying that when you die, you don't feel the pain. It's the people you leave behind that feel the pain the most. Na tunapata when dealing with mental health ama suicidal thoughts, the aim inakuanga to escape, kupata escapism from the pain. Hizi vitu zote watu wanafanya, drugs to escape the pain, kujiua ku escape the pain. And tunapata we cannot deny that hizi vitu zinafanya watu wa escape the pain, but there are healthy ways and unhealthy ways to escape the pain. Drugs tumepata ni mbaya kabisa. Yeah. Suicide worse, because taking your own life is a selfish act. It's derogative, ni kitu mbaya sana. Na there are so many people wenye wanakutegemea and so many people that love you, na it's not worth it. Suicide, a friend of mine aliniambianga, suicide is taking a permanent step
in life,
permanent step for a temporary problem.
Yeah.
Because you cannot undo. Uwezi fufuka after umeenda. You are gone like that. And that's a big loss to us, everyone here. Yeah, so as you, even if you're battling with stress and whatever mental health issue, you need to find a healthy coping mechanism. Yeah. You don't need to escape it. You need to cope with it. And after you cope with it, after some time, you'll manage to get away from it and live your life. So if you are struggling with such things, I hope you've taken notes.
Ingia campus,
jubado tunakutaka ukwe ukiveo hizi vitu.
Tukusaidie na utusaidie.
Yeah. So just take it na everything itakuwa sawa.
Yeah, trust in God.
trust in God and everything will be okay.
So there's a common issue in campus. Inaanzanga na discuss on the last episode, I guess. Yeah, depression. It had to do something with a whole people dealing with crypto mining, forex, blah blah blah, fake life. Do you feel like to an extent how fake life wanapushiwa to an extent? Because at some point maybe when influencer you're given an amount of money to promote a product, some cars and blah blah blah. We have seen tumeona mara most on the internet. So do you feel like hii kusukumwa na kupewa pesa mingi na maybe ma celeb ama some organizations ina push the comrades into suicidal leading things kama depression pia? Do you feel like inawasukuma to an extent hawezi the life they were meant to live to an extent hadi wanaishi maisha fake?
I feel like copying some people's lifestyle is now the most dangerous disease.
Common thing also.
Yeah. So unaona msee CaMpUS ako TikTok anaona Kenyan Prince akiflat tu na magari.
Siangelele Kenyan Prince.
Huyu ananipeanga pressure.
Huyu jamaa like anakumaliza
magari bana.
Anakumaliza. This guy's like, I made my first million in 2020 and I'm like, bruh, aje mimi na struggle kupata hata so yeah. When you're in my age kuna 1 meter. No, but I feel like everyone has their own time and everyone has their kila mtu akona kitu tamtoa blocks. Kuna msalimisho wa mama sijui karada. Yeah, there's something that takes you out of the hood.
Yeah,
like live about the pressure thing. That's their life. Like you gotta live your own life, whichever it is. If you don't have something they have, your time is coming. So that's basic. You're just supposed to love your life, whichever way it is. If you don't have something, just don't worry about it. If you're pushing yourself to getting it, you'll just do it. So the problem is mtu anakupea pressure and you are doing nothing. So if you be doing something, na hiyo pressure bado inakupush into doing something, that's what you live in it. But sasa pressure na unalala zero, like hiyo hata utajinyonga bure, unaona. Yeah, be doing something that's supposed to make you up, like make you grow and stuff.
Okay,
doing your own thing. Kama sisi hapa we are doing our thing for your good.
But I'm subscribed to. Okay. Yeah. So this one goes to all of us. Maybe kuna nyi mshaipata like the good strategies and Ariel mentioned before of hakuna mtu mwenye hajaipitia depression ama mental health issues. Mwaipata the coping strategies and techniques zenye ni effective, zenye zime work out actually. Leave alone zenye mesema like you're depressed ama kuna suicidal thoughts, unaenda kucheza game, listen to music, do poetry. Kuna zenye mmepata ni effective like zili work out perfectly?
I guess something that helped me, I've been there actually. Yeah, I had my first panic attack when I was 15. Like it was logic. I've had my panic attacks. Like it's something that has happened. Yeah, when I was in 15
so
years
young,
old.
man.
I was so young, right? And then something to do with depression really came to my mind last year about the relationship thing. And hata mwili reduced to. But then the only thing that made me realize that I should not be dragging around that was acceptance, right? Okay. It was just acceptance. I had to feel like kukubali like this life can just be taken away anytime, so go live it out. Okay. So we actually living a very borrowed life, so you gotta live like no one else owes you happiness. Okay. Like the cheetah thing, this guy died. He's got a lot of love out here. And then you feel like there's no use.
The problem is the love comes after like your omenyori, so like there's ADHD. Sijui meza na feel aje like mimi mostly when I'm in a situation like na experience mental health issues, the best way ni kuandika skits fupi I do write them, lakini sijazieka outside in the internet ama and sort of things. Lakini I participate in something creative, ama create a podcast, you come up with something, a platform where people can discuss kitu wana go through. Sijui meda if you have an opinion about this, kama umepitia.
I cannot talk about depression and mental health from an empirical point of view, lakini I cannot say in my experience, but stress is common to all of us. Na mimi honestly, the only thing or my worst stressor inakuanga financial issues. Kasi na pesa ni hivyo. Otherwise si eti niko sawa, lakini hizo zingine naweza manage, but kasi na pesa so bad. But when I'm stressed, there are also other issues, trivial stresses. But when I'm stressed, mimi husoma novel, si kusoma ma story. Napenda stories za fiction.
I love the fiction.
I love fiction. Hii issue na kusoma zinaitwaje, self development books, think big
na theory.
No, I love fiction. I read fiction and I write fiction. Na mtasoma hizo blogs ziko hapo kwa comment.
There will be a link to
so from that you'll see how I heal my depression. I write literally pieces. Na I think also they are pretty addictive pieces. They can also help you if you are going through some shit. Zinaweza kusaidia pia wewe, lakini I do that, and when I find a coping mechanism, a healthy coping mechanism, inaweza saidia watu wengine, si lazima ikusaidie pia wewe. Juu mimi when I write to release my stress, and the process of writing, I also influence other people's lives. I entertain people.
Kuna maybe mwenye anapitia alafu anasoma.
Kuna mwenye anapitia alafu anasoma.
So unajisaidia na unasaidia the other guy.
Unajisaidia na unasaidia the other guy. That's how we live. Hatuwezi kuwa independent hii dunia. Hivyo ndo tunaishi, so lazima tusaidiane. So that's it according to me.
So apart from poetry, Eli, any other thing maybe you can add up in kusaidia to go through this whole thing scenario, mental health?
I think not just poetry but art in general.
As a whole structure,
as a whole thing, it really helps me out. Just like him, I love the fiction thing. The fiction world. I like when I'm going to somewhere that is like just unbelievable, right? And then that really helps me. I draw a lot, so I feel like maybe drawing speaks out a lot about me. So it helps me go in.
And I've had to attach some of the drawings.
Sure. And then the poetry that I do the spoken word poetry. It really talks a lot. It really helps a lot. And then I guess I've had some little piece of spoken word poetry talking about anxiety. So we just touch it down there.
Okay. Taskuma kwa
na ukai mtu wa spoken word bana. Watu wa spoken word najua wanavanga tu mapool necks na kafedora hat kila mahali bana, na wanatembea na kagita yenye wajui kupiga.
Sino wasanii usiseme hivyo meza. Alafu so you guys, do you feel like institutions zimeweka structures ama resources zenye ma student tunaweza access tusaidie, like you mentioned vitu kama therapist na psychiatrist? Do you feel like institution like maybe any school maybe umesomea tukiwa high school ama primary, we actually went to the same school with Meda, so sisi hizo vitu za guidance and counseling ilikuanga kweli?
Ikuanga bani, ulikuwa unajiguide na kujicancel peke yako. Hizo hatukutambua.
Ulikuwa unaamka to guide and counsel yourself. So Eli, do you feel like maybe tumekewa the structures, the right resources tunaweza approach kusolve situations zetu tukiwa hapa shule?
I feel like in the current environment, no. Like, okay, I actually not seeing something that's being done to curb this whole script. Like, I should be expecting some seminars, like the school be calling out a mental health seminar, right? And this will make people come out, talk about maybe get to share vitu wanapitia. As much as you're not going to tell the world, you can tell someone who's closer to you and stuff. Like, and then major mostly into the art thing. You know, art is very therapeutic, right? It helps out.
And it communicates.
It communicates. So when a lot of these things are put aside, like maybe you're having maybe 2 showcasing days of maybe art. I'm at a podcast, right? Generally, that's art. I feel like people, it is a thing that's going to help. As we know, like going to rehab centers is very expensive.
Very, very.
When we have a school that can provide that, you're just doing things that are not financial needing, right? So I feel like hawajafanya that much thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And perhaps I would have advice to CaMpUS.
If administration, if admin, we don't want to lose more comrades.
Actually, me realize like there wasi wengi wanakufa around. Ni dizi ama kwanza late last year. Wasi wengi
late last year.
Many people are dying, many. Na kwanza ni very young.
Yeah,
Age 35 then. Chini ya 35.
Yeah, kuna case recently ilikuwa jana some university that I won't mention that a boy, a gentleman committed suicide juu aliachwa na demu yake. So such cases bring us to something else that we'll talk about another time in another episode.
Actually, in the next episode maybe.
Yeah, something that brings us to something that we should control our emotions. Kuna vitu zingine hatufai kuacha zitu overtake. Just like you said, your mother alikwambia beba vitu zako wende home kama she's all your life.
That's actually a good advice.
That's a good advice, and that's what we call brutal advice. Someone helping you brutally. And that's all someone is like me isn't advice na izafuata. And after such an advice, unaendanga to sit down and reflect upon your life and see the bad decisions that you umefanya and unaamua correct yourself. So I think we should also learn to control our emotions. We'll dive more into such topics and we'll also dive more into relationships juu
imeongelewa sana
mapenzi wacha
the first episode.
Juu relationships pia zina play a big issue. See your case ya that boy only. There's also a girl who fell from the 4th floor from another university. Some I don't know. Haijaka sana. And it's so sad. Yeah.
So sijui guys mnafeel the last time we had nilikuwa na discussion na Ariel. He was mentioning of a flex, a suicidal thoughts being a flex to teenagers. So wanaona ni kani flex, yani ni ndio maisha,
depression.
The same thing. So do you feel like nimepotea kabisa. Do you feel like maybe kuna venye society na to view sisi, there is a way the society feel like kwanza ni millennials kusema tu kweli. Juu society siwezi sema ni teenagers, juu squeeze tumeavoid kuito society kabisa. Do you feel like millennials wanaona ni kama this generation is going to become weak? Of late hadi online there's been a fight like teenagers are they ain't playing a big role in this world sai. Do you feel like millennials wame to judge sana to an extent maybe sasa tunaifanya ikue flex alafu ina lead into suicidal thoughts maybe?
the society thing is very wide. I know you people know of this musician called Dax, right?
Dax from Nigeria.
Yeah. This guy wrote a piece some other day, and it was majorly talking about the society. So when he was talking about the society, he was like, society has its own rules. So it puts aside the rules that are supposed to be followed, which is absolutely not supposed to be the point.
Yes, and you feel like you are being left out. Like you need to experience these too. And sasa ni kama being stressed na kukuwa na hizi thoughts zimekuwa normalized such that if you don't have them, then you feel abnormal. You feel like you're not human. You feel like you are numb to some human feelings and you need to feel it too. And I think ni mbaya sana hivyo. It's not a good thing. What do you think, Eli?
I'm terrified all along. God does all our sins. The depression thing is one of the sins. Like, I feel like it's eating us very much to be talking about this thing, because we are not the first people to be talking about it, and the very same reason that's taking us to be doing this is because it's becoming rampant day in, day out. Like, just today you wake up. Did you know? I don't know. The statistics are correct. The last time we had the statistics about mental health and suicide was 2023, and it was like 4 people die every minute through depression and the suicide thing.
That's serious.
That's very serious. 4 people die in every minute. So you have 240 people in every hour. Almost 1,800 people in every day. So it's logically so hard, so saddening that we the youth and the teenagehood people are affected with this. So I really pray that you talk out the things that you're battling. That is one way of accepting your problems. You have to accept it. When something happens to you, you really have to accept that something's not right in me. So you try to solve it out.
Yeah, so you need to acknowledge.
Have you ever been affected by any of it?
Mi niliwaambia I'm stressed. I'm stressed when broke. I'm stressed when broke. But unajua there's also a possibility. I want you to tell us what you think about it, both of you. There's a possibility that someone can be depressed and they are not aware. Is there a possibility?
They can be depressed and they don't know it.
And they are not aware.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Like
uko depressed and
now you go depressed.
Depression is like a disease. Not until you see signs.
You are diagnosed.
Not until you not until you're diagnosed, you're never gonna trust that, right? So it's just like a disease. When it starts affecting someone, you're not knowing until the first signs show. Yeah, it's depression is the same thing.
Okay, actually in episode 1 we had an argument about depression being a disease or not. And then we had such an argument na kulikuwa na a lot of debate actually. Sasa leo acha to resolve meda. Is depression a disease kweli?
Mimi nilishasema ati I'm guilty for contributing to the stigma against mental health and depression. Nilisema depression, the state of mind yenye imekuwa institutionalized kwetu na the West. And as much as depression is real, it's something that can be diagnosed. But most people have taken it further. Like, tumeichukulia ni kama mtu anaweza kuja akwambie unajua uko depressed na uko na stress kadogo ka pesa, utakuja kuambia hiyo ni depression, and you start thinking of it as that ama worse. Ukwenda ka symptoms kidogo hivi kama alafu uende Google upate symptoms uko nazo ni za depression, then you diagnose yourself. alafu the worst problem is you diagnose yourself ati uko depressed, then you start taking antidepressants, and that is not prescribed over the counter antidepressants zenye zitakuwa prescribed na professional. Then antidepressants zina improve your mood, right?
Sure.
And when you take them and you're not depressed, you're not medically depressed, suffering from that condition, zitakuaffect, it will develop. Because imagine you take antidepressant, unakuwa kwa mood nzuri, then when the effect fades away, you're back to the trenches. Okay. And then this, hata kama ukuwa mtu ako depressed, but the moment you stop utakuwa addicted, na the moment you stop sasa ndo utakuwa depressed sasa vizuri. So that's what I said. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so Medza me mention of someone just popping out of nowhere na kukwambia uko depressed na unaenda kufikiri uko depressed. So nini huwa zina manifest aje? Maybe sijui kila mtu ataongelelea hii, but nini hu manifest aje? Nini za depression ama suicidal thoughts? Na nini ukulid ku recognize hizi ni signs na symptoms za depression ama suicidal thoughts?
The first thing people are supposed to know about depression and the suicide thing is depression is something that can make any human do anything, so long as this thing shows them the end in the tunnel. Like a depressed person, once he or she sees something that's a kind of ending, like maybe death is the only solution, like life takes you in a way that you're supposed to do that thing. That is not the sad thing about it. But now it's very ironical that depression doesn't show you this. It's very insidious for you to see the end in you. Like it keeps taking you in circles until it's not going to show you that you're supposed to do this. Like people do that by their own self. Yeah.
Okay, so a word of advice maybe kwa mse ana battle anxiety, depression ama suicidal thoughts ama any mental health issue, what will you advise him ama her maybe?
The only thing I can tell you is you're very strong, and I hope you finally make up the thing that you're fighting by your own self.
You find your way, you find your path. Okay guys, this has been CaMpUS podcast with our guest Eli. Meda has some wise words for you. Maybe anataka msome the bloggers, I know that.
With enough motivation I can talk a lot. Na this is motivation enough, because you're here for you to tackle issues affect. Na you as your viewer, your mental health is our priority, your well-being in CaMpUS is our priority. Na mi naweza waambia depression iko, kuna vitu mingi sana CaMpUS zinaweza kudrive mtu afikirie kujimaliza. Na kujimaliza, most people do it to escape their suffering, but you don't need to escape. You need to find a way to cope, a healthy way to cope.
Listen to our podcast.
Yeah, like listening to our podcast. I believe sauti zetu ziko therapeutic enough.
So engage.
Or reading my blogs. Yeah, those are two of the few things you can do. Yeah, and you find a coping mechanism, and remember, a loss, your life is valuable to everyone around you, to this CaMpUS, to this nation, to the world, and you're valuable and people love you, and you need to hold in there, and help is coming. Help is coming, and we are here to make you happy, to make sure that your problems don't overshadow you, and to make sure you become the best version of yourself. And yeah, I think that's all. And this is our episode 2, and this episode has part 1 and part 2. So yeah, it was a nice episode. Our guest Eli is such an experienced person. No, don't just see a guy like this. And yeah, and our guy Eli, thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring the invitation. We've been planning this a lot, and our guy here, don't just see him. He's a comrade, and he's very busy. He has a very busy schedule,
right.
And when he comes here, he has broken his itinerary to be here. And yeah, and we really appreciate, and we really hope our audience will enjoy this episode. And we seek your support as we try to navigate the corridors of campus, and we need your compelling stories here, so that there are no unique experiences. Hiyo kitu umepitia, kuna mtu mwingine tena. There are almost more than 1 million other people who are passing through the same thing.
Sure.
And your testimony, your story inaweza saidia mtu, and you can save a life hata kama ujui. And so feel free. This is a conversation, and no one cannot participate. Everyone can. It's just a talk. We talk about things affecting us, and we encourage you to, even in the comment section, you can give your opinions, and you can express your desire kukua featured. This is a free thing, and we will feature you, and yeah, because you are our priority.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we have had an amazing conversation with Eli and Major, so we're about to sign out. This is our last. So your last few remarks, Eli, maybe to the listeners and the audience.
I feel like you're supposed to find light out of the tunnel. See something that's just beyond yourself. Like gain a better first mentality. That's life.
Okay.
And then finally,
follow maybe anywhere.
Your poems, your artwork.
They can follow you.
Just a quote to wrap it. Like depression is funny. It will make you believe it's something you ain't. Like it will make you feel like a cop's version of you is better, which is not true. Yeah, you can follow me at my socials. I mean, majorly in Instagram and Facebook. At youlookingforelie. That's my tag.
You're looking for Eli.
Like you're looking for Eli.
I like that tag. It's very
it's
creative.
very awesome.
Yeah, and that portrays your
creativity.
Art, your creativity.
Yeah. So you can see my poems there. They just there. You give me a follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and since we are talking about suicide in campus and things that affect comrades' lives in campus, last week there was a very tragic incident that involved our brothers and sisters from KU.
Sure.
And it's such a sad thing kuona watu wakikufa hivyo prematurely. So our thoughts and prayers with our brothers from KU and every other comrade all over the country. And yeah, we are here for you, and yeah, tune in for such conversations.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, to wrap it up, this was a dedication to those who lost their lives mid last year and the whole of last year and the earlier of this year. So this is just a chance to say we love you as much as we lost you. You're never lost, you're within us. So this podcast was dedicated to you. We love you all, and we are wrapping it up. So maybe should wrap it up. I'm not saying anything. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Bye bye.